Hi everyone, I'm back today to talk a little bit more about credit score. So we're going to talk about ways that your score could be lowered and ways that you can improve your score. So first let's talk about what can lower your credit score. Paying bills late or missing a payment. So the biggest chunk of your credit score is your payment history. So paying your bills late or missing payments can lower your score quite a bit. Acquiring more debt. Tax liens. So tax liens can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years, and this is failure to pay taxes on property or failure to pay income taxes. Bankruptcy. Bankruptcies can stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. Loans going to collections. Applying for several credit accounts. So we talked about in the last session that applying for several credit accounts in a short period of time can hurt your credit score. Closing an old credit card. Keeping those old credit cards open can help to lengthen your credit history. So it's not a bad thing if you have an old credit card that you don't use anymore or you use every once in a while because it lengthens your credit history. Closing an old credit card won't necessarily hurt you a lot or hurt you for a very long period of time, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it's just something to keep in mind. Carrying high balances on credit cards. So maxing out your credit cards will hurt your credit score because, again, it can indicate to lenders that you're relying on credit. So this is a table that shows us two people, Jeff and Michelle. Jeff has a credit score of 680 and Michelle has a credit score of 780. So Jeff's credit score is a little bit lower than Michelle's. Michelle's is actually pretty close to perfect. Jeff's isn't terrible, but we want to look at what these different items added to a credit report has, their effect that they have on their credit score. So for example, we have maxing out a credit card. You can see for Jeff that this will lower his credit score 10 to 30 points. But for Michelle, it can lower her credit score 25 to 45 points. So I want you to take a minute. You can pause the webinar to look through this table and see what you notice. So go through each item for Jeff and Michelle, and what do you notice? So for Jeff, you can see that his credit score for each item will drop less than for Michelle. So that's because Michelle has a much better credit score. So when she files for bankruptcy, it's not expected that she would file for bankruptcy or miss a payment because her credit score is pretty perfect. So her credit history is great. For Jeff, with a lower credit score, his credit history may not be so good. So when he has a 30-day delinquency, it will drop his score a little bit less because it's probably not the first time he's had a 30-day delinquency, or it's to be kind of expected for him. All right, so now let's talk about ways you can improve your score. Check for errors on your report. This is something really simple that you can do every year. So every year you can check your credit report for free from the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You can check your credit report one time from each of those every 12 months. And you're looking for errors, simple mistakes that could be hurting your score, or you're looking for signs of identity theft. Someone could be using your information to apply for loans and then they're not paying on those loans. So that's hurting you and your credit score. So you want to be checking your credit report regularly so you can keep an eye out for those things. Pay your bills on time. So again, pay your bills on time and don't miss any payments because this is the biggest chunk of your credit score. Pay down as much debt as possible. Build a long history of consistent payments on credit accounts. Keep accounts open for long periods of time. Have a variety of credit accounts. So we talked about that in the last session as well. It is a smaller portion of your credit score, but having a variety of credit accounts can be helpful for your credit score. And keep balances low on credit cards. So it's not necessarily bad to have a balance on your credit card, but you still want to keep that credit utilization on the lower side. All right, so that's all I have for you today. next time we are going to talk about how your credit score affects you and your life. So we talk about how important it is, but we're going to get into the details of how it could affect you and your financial goals. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening.